today is the biggest day in Xbox history. Now, before we get into today's topic, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and share. It helps the channel out. So yesterday, the European Trade Commission made the announcement that they are allowing the Bethesda and Microsoft deal to go ahead. So what does that mean? So many months ago, Microsoft made the announcement that they were wanting to purchase Bethesda. And that sent ripples throughout the gaming industry, and it's understandable. But there are questions that need to be answered. But first, I just want to say that a few years ago, Microsoft didn't have a ton of studios. People wanted Microsoft to get more studios, get more content. And it was clear they wanted more content. It was clear that they needed it. And as an Xbox fan first, I want them to grow. And I'm happy to see them do that. But they added studios over time, created a studio, and then they announced the Bethesda deal, and they announced In Exile and Obsidian a few years ago, and a bunch of other studios. And it's proof that Microsoft is wanting to grow their commitment to gaming. They've been in the console business now for longer than Sega. So Microsoft means business. They've spent billions on content, and it just goes to show that Microsoft are dedicated to gaming. Now, the questions that need answering. Now, Microsoft said that some new games will be exclusive to Xbox and PC, and, well, obviously xCloud. Now, before we get into what content is going to other platforms, Microsoft can utilize Xbox Series hardware a lot better now, because they're not having to optimize for other platforms. So in the future, when we see said exclusives release, they will perform and look amazing, and they won't be, how shall I put it, not held back, but they won't have to optimize for other kind of hardware. But anyway, so what content is going to other platforms? Now, Microsoft isn't going to be removing content, which I've seen people talk about online, so no. Skyrim, Doom Eternal, The Outer Worlds, Wasteland, all those games are still going to remain on other platforms. But when it comes to new content, like expansions, of course those will go to other platforms. So the next Doom Eternal expansion, the next Outer Worlds expansion, all that stuff. Of course all that stuff's going to stay there. It makes sense. And the thing is, Microsoft would be... there would be a bigger kickback if they start removing content and stop putting expansions on games that are already released on those platforms. But what about new games? Well, obviously Fallout 76, and of course the absolutely massive MMO, The Elder Scrolls Online. Those games are obviously going to remain to get content, to get support for years to come. It makes sense. There's millions of players that play every week on those games, because MMOs are a big deal. But Microsoft did say some new titles. Now, you have to remember that Ghostwire Tokyo and Deathloop are on PlayStation. Those are future PlayStation games that aren't even out yet. So yes, in the future those will come to Game Pass next year. But for the time being, those games are PlayStation exclusives. They can't turn around and stop any deal going around, because that's how lawsuits happen. So yes, those games still going to PlayStation. But when it comes to things like Starfield and The Elder Scrolls 6, while they are being a bit more vague than people would realize, you have to think about it like this. They announced that some games will be Xbox and PC exclusive. They didn't go into detail. We have rumors of Starfield coming out this year, and they didn't hint at anything else. Now, I'm just looking at all the writing on the wall, and that tells me that Microsoft are making those games exclusive to the Xbox platforms and Xbox ecosystem. Now, the whole Game Pass situation's going to be massive, because yes, there's going to be a back catalogue of games that go into Xbox Game Pass. That's a ton of games and a ton of content. And also they can throw in the backwards compatible games by Bethesda into Xbox Game Pass as well, because why not? That's more content. But things like Prey, things like The Evil Within, those are very risky games. Very risky games. But Bethesda doesn't have to be so risk averse now. So if you look at Obsidian, a big RPG like that would not be made without Microsoft's help. So my point is that these games and the unannounced games, and we have a potential Wolfenstein 3 coming out, these are risky games that Microsoft can afford because they make money every week in Game Pass. Every month in Game Pass. Now, I'm sure that a lot of people would have wanted more games to be announced today. That's going to come. But my point is that Microsoft isn't going to remove content from other platforms. Expansions will still go to other platforms with those games on. You know, and the thing is, Bethesda makes smaller games as well. So while they do make the MMOs, I do fully believe that things like card games and future smaller titles like that will go to other platforms. So any future potential card game will go to Nintendo Switch and PlayStation. I can totally see that, and I don't think the community will be, you know, too angry about that, or angry at all. I think with Bethesda being their own separate entity creates multiple situations where they can put other titles, but when I say other titles on other platforms, I literally mean small titles in MMOs. That's literally it. So in future, if there's a future Fallout MMO, who knows, like a full-on Fallout MMO with hundreds or possibly thousands of players, yeah, I can totally see that being multi-platform. But I think Microsoft were kind of vague today, but I'm just reading through all the business speak and saying that, yeah, Starfield, Elder Scrolls, stuff like that, those games are not going to other platforms. And the good thing is that Microsoft, with Game Pass, they can take more risks. So when I was talking about Prey, I was talking about The Evil Within, those games can come back because, again, there's less risk now. And also, if the shoe was on the other foot, the deal wouldn't be the same, because Microsoft allow their games to go on PC and xCloud, meaning you can play your games on a console, an Xbox console, a PC, or mobile device. And to me, that just says, well, everyone has one of those, why not? Everyone can game on one of them. Anyway, it's been a big day for Xbox, it's been a big day for Bethesda. We will see more official news in the future, but like I said, all future big titles, even though they said some, are going to be exclusive to Xbox. I've made a clear point of what I think won't be. And yeah, again, it's a big day for Xbox content. It's a big day for gaming. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. And yeah, I hope everyone has a good day. And let me know in the comments of what you think of all these deals. And follow me on Twitter. The link will be in the description down below. Anyway, I'm out. Peace.